Here at Elite FTS. Come follow us. We're going to have a good time. All right. Hello, everybody. This is John Meadows and Evan Centopani. We're going to talk about the training we did today. We did some leg training, and right now Evan is in his off season, and I am in kind of pre-contest phase. And what we did today was, the first thing we did was we started off with a leg curl. I think those of you that are familiar with me know that I have a preference for starting leg workouts with variations of leg curls, and today we just used the lying leg curl. We started off with some straight sets, and basically we just worked up to a drop set at the end, and you'll see we do a couple drops in the video, and then we also tacked on some partials. We tried to get 20 reps out after the partials, and then we threw in an isotension rep too for good measure. And it was a pretty intense pump. I'm pretty used to it. I don't know if Evan, if you're used to doing the forced reps or isotension, but what do you think about those leg curls?
The isotension, static holds, things like that was definitely something different for me. Force reps, I'm definitely accustomed to. By the time we were done warming up the hamstrings, I had a pretty solid pump in the last set where, we kind of pulled out all the stops and whipped out some of the other stuff. So I got up off the machine thinking to myself, wow, okay, all right. We're getting going now. So if this is a forecast of what's to come, I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, a lot of times we do a lot of warm-up sets, especially Dave and I, because we're old as dust. And I think people initially are like, man, is this all we're doing? Just all these warm-up sets? Like, no, there's some fun to follow. So then we moved on to a version of a Bulgarian squat that I really like. I've never been a big fan of Bulgarian squats from the perspective of balance. It's when you have a leg elevated, a foot elevated, and there's a balance component to it. And even if you hold both dumbbells, I find it real easy to lose your balance. But doing it the way you'll see in the video, I absolutely love. I think these are absolutely awesome in terms of both really quad and glute work predominantly. But you'll see that we're using a dumbbell on one hand, but we're actually using the squat rack to balance ourselves. So you take the balance problem out of the exercise, and you can really focus on getting your reps, focusing on your form, and most importantly, focusing on intensity. Because really that's the main thing we're trying to do. We're trying to generate intensity, not worrying about falling over because due to a balance issue. So we did some sets working up in weight with, I think we did a 25-pound dumbbell, then I want to say a 45 and a 65, and then you'll see another drop set. The drop set, what we're trying to do is we're trying to do sets of 10, and at the end of every set of 10, we're trying to do a 10-second iso hold and then drop the weight. That's my goal when I do these. I have yet to do all 10 reps with a 10-second iso hold, and that's my goal, though. I'm going to keep trying it, and I want to keep doing it until I can do that. But there's really no way for me to put into words how those felt. maybe you can put it into words.
I gotta say this for me was the surprise of the workout. This was the winner. And unfortunately, I think, for most of you who are watching this, I don't think you're gonna quite. I don't know that if you're gonna be able to quite see. Well, obviously you can't see what it feels like, but I'll tell you right now, it felt way crazier than probably what it looks like. It doesn't, geez, I mean, I see, girls at my gym doing something similar to this. It looks like, okay, it's like a lunge exercise. I'm gonna put my foot up on the bench, but I mean, the way that this was executed, wow. This blew my mind, because the feeling, okay, you get okay, your first warm up set, oh wow, good pump in my quads, and yeah, I feel it in my glutes, and then the sets go on, and it's whoa. It's like you almost lose all feeling in your quads, and it's just the feeling that you get in your glutes. It's just it's unlike anything, because I mean, I squat heavy, I've squatted heavy, in the past. You get on a leg press, but I mean, this was just really, really different, and it induced a feeling. I don't even know how to describe it. It was just like a deep kind of muscular failure. Like you're just going to lose it. And maybe the most valuable part of it was kind of reinforcing the idea that you can, using, okay, I don't have to always go in the gym, and throw 500 pounds on my back and squat it to get a hell of a workout, and truth be told, and this was something that John and I were talking about, you feel like at some point doing that week after week after week, at some point it doesn't seem sustainable. So this was for me really inspiring and really refreshing to kind of see, okay, wow, all right, so this is how I can utilize something different that maybe in a way I can do things a little safer and practice some, self-preservation, but still have it be highly, highly effective.
John, do you have any plasma with you this right now? I got,
You have something on?
what's that?
You can have something on.
Take it to the office under my desk or in the kitchen. There's someone called plasma. You just bring it out. Let it all out.
Let the demons go.
Cameraman to let it all out.
From there, we went on to my favorite squatting apparatus, or squat bar. It's called a spider bar, and it's a combination of a cambered bar and a safety squat bar. So you, by the camber forces you to really stay upright and focus on your balance, and then the safety squat part that sits on your shoulders, that also, you got to be pretty upright or it'll fold you over like a chair. So, doing that after the previous exercise, I really like, and I'll tell you why, because you feel it nowhere except in the muscle. And I've been battling kind of some aches and pains this year, and it's really frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating if you get into an exercise, especially a squat. That's my absolute favorite exercise, but to not be able to really grind because of, aches and pains. So you can use another exercise like we did today as a prelude to these squats. And, really what we did was we had a rep number in mind, and we just kept going up until we felt like, okay, that's probably, we're losing our balance, we're losing our form. And, so I wouldn't call it light. We're still going as heavy as we can go for our rep count. We're just not going to get stupid. And, there was a certain point where my legs just started shaking, and my body I took that as a signal to, okay, you've probably had enough.
I got to be honest with you, walking away from the Bulgarian squats, my legs were just feeling like, whoa. And then as these guys were, warming up, I think after my first warm-up set with the squats, I said, "Oh man, I'm getting that feeling," and I was so bummed out because I don't know, I haven't, I generally train pretty hard, but this was just something different, it was not something I was used to. It was just a different feeling, a different stimulus, and I was so disappointed that I ended up blowing chunks, but because honestly, like John said, putting squats at this point in the workout, you're typically able to squat pain-free, and really get a lot out of it and have it be highly effective, even though, the weight is reduced. So the movement itself felt fantastic. Just at this point, my brain was a little bit in a different place. It took me a little while to regain myself. So I wish for that reason, I felt, I didn't lose it, and I could have put a little bit more into the squats because it felt great, and it is a great movement. I never use the bar exact. We have a safety squat bar, but it doesn't have that drastic camber like this one has, and it's a great movement. Especially, it kind of reminds you, all right, if you've been squatting for a while, using a straight bar. This was something John was talking about earlier in the day. We were kind of having a conversation. Just, we are kind of creatures of habit, and you fall into doing things the week after week after week, and the body does adapt pretty quickly. The changing up the bar you're using, the angle you're using, stance, blah, 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 is beneficial. And, again, something the workout reminded me to do is, okay, change some stuff.
From there, we moved on to hack squats, just good old basic rock bottom hack squats, and we used the same kind of style that we used on the spider bar squats. We had a rep count in mind, and we basically just kept going up and up. I think we got to maybe 6 plates, and again, once you start feeling your form and my legs, I got the same signal that I got on squats. My legs started shaking and feeling unstable. It's like, okay, this is probably time to back it down.
When John and Dave were like, all right, we're gonna do some hack squats now, I kind of like to myself, I said, because I don't usually do a lot of hacks because usually they wreck my knees. And I got to say that between this machine itself, the way it was built with a big giant platform on it, and the fact that there were a couple bands attached that took a little bit of pressure off that bottom where you're coming out of the hole, where your knees seem to generally be at the point of greatest tension. Oh man, what a difference it made, because the weight was getting progressively, there was progressively more resistance as you went through the movement. And it makes a big difference because you're able to shift, you're able to feel much greater tension higher up in the quads, higher up on your quads, and for me more inner thighs, and kind of take the knees out of it. And I was really, really impressed, and the movement felt great. And by this time in the workout, I was feeling a little bit better too.
Yeah, we kind of got our second win there. We only did one set of leg extensions after that. And I'm trying to remember if a lot of times when I do leg extensions, I like to dorsiflex my foot, and I feel like you feel a lot more tension in your rectus femoris and kind of in your upper thigh. And Evan and I were talking about that. That's an area that he wants to focus on too. So we just did a set there, but we were kind of tinkering around with foot position. And Evan mentioned that if he plantar flexes his foot, for teardrop, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but doing it the opposite way felt okay. So that's a variation you guys can try if you want to get a little bit more upper thigh. Dorsiflex your foot, and you'll feel it. You'll feel the contraction. And the opposite is true. If you plantar flex your foot, you'll feel your teardrop and your lower quad. So just one set there.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because just, a little variation like that, John said, no, curl your toes up a little bit more. I said, okay. And I said, whoa. You feel the emphasis, shift kind of more from, lower on the quads, your teardrop area to, higher up. And for me, I've always had kind of a thicker teardrop and just could always use more meat, in the upper part. So it was definitely a valuable, it was worth doing.
From there, we went to powerlifting staple, glute ham raises. This isn't my best exercise. I've always been real weak at these. That probably means I should do more of them. But we did 3 sets on the glute ham raise. You'll notice we weren't doing a lot of reps. That's because I'm not physically capable of doing a lot of reps on that exercise. Our form is probably not perfect, but we were trying. That is a very, very difficult exercise to execute properly, especially if you don't really do it often, and I don't typically do it very often. But, man, those felt great too. And that's pretty much how we finished off. So, overall, this is, I would call this a pretty average workout for us. Very good. I was very happy with it. In terms of volume, the volume discussions are always kind of weird, I think, because people count sets differently. We had some sets that were really, really high, what I would call highly intense sets, but we also had a lot of sets kind of leading up to those. And some people don't count those, and they would call that a low volume workout. Some people would count all the sets working up to it and call it a high volume workout. So, my opinion is who cares? At the end of the day, you got to, train with a lot of intensity and break down the muscle. And we were, again, we talked about our legs shaking. We were listening to our body signals that when it had enough, we moved on and we listened. So, I think it was a good, smart workout, intelligent workout where we were able to train hard and also live to fight another day.
I think the workout was really well designed. I think that, anybody can construct a workout that's highly intense. Say, okay, well, here, let's go over to the squat bar. Let's load it up with weight, and let's just bang out as many sets as we can and force reps and things like that. And that's great, but you can't do that, I think, all the time. And, workout like this was, you can always do more, I guess. You could always do another set. You could stay in the gym for another hour. You could stay in the gym for another 2 hours. But I guess the question is, will it be more effective? Will it be beneficial? Or will it actually be to your detriment? And like John said, there's you kind of have to recognize the point, when you're ready to move on, and that, okay, we went all in. And maybe you can do one set and get so much out of it that you don't need to do another one. I guess I would prefer to think that the one thing, if you're looking, the more desirable thing would to be to get the most out of doing the least. And I think this workout was a really, really good bang for the buck. It was intense, but it wasn't the type where I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and go, oh man, my knees or my back, or it's going to be effective. But next week, if I'm going to go and I'm going to squat heavy, I expect to be stronger. Not like, oh man, that workout took, banged me up so bad last week that I'm actually weaker this week. That's not what I want. So sometimes it's a game of, knowing what's enough and what's too much, and you got to go hard enough. But I don't know. It's all a balance, I guess. And in that regard, I thought the workout was fantastic.